One helpful thing that we typically encourage our clients to do as part of their estate plan is something called a letter of instruction. Now, this is not a legally binding document, so it's likely not going to be used in court to, prove anything necessarily. It could, but it's not a legally binding document created by like statutes, any statute that I'm aware of anyways. But what it does do is it makes the process a lot easier for family members and goes to your intent about what you were trying to do, and hopefully really reduces any litigation, if any. So a letter of instruction can be used for a couple different things. The first things that come to mind is what type of cremation, funeral, burial service, what do you want, right? Do you want to be buried at a cemetery? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to, were you a scuba diver and there's these really cool cemeteries underwater where you can put your ashes into some sort of coral? Whatever it is, doesn't matter, but you should have that written down, because this is something I definitely see people fighting over. And I speak from seeing it in my own family, people fighting over, cremation versus burial, things like that. So that's a letter of instruction you could do. You could also do a letter of instruction about where your documents are, where you've got things, right? A lot of times, let's say you did one estate plan and it was outdated and you didn't get rid of it, you have an old will and you do the new will. Well, if they never find the new will, they might go by the old will unless they know where the new will is at, right? So for those types of documents, you probably want to have some sort of letter instruction saying where everything can be found. Another letter of instruction might be just summaries of everything that you have. So for example, in our estate planning packages, they're very comprehensive, right? They have a lot of information, and unless you're a trained attorney or just someone who really likes reading this type of stuff, it's going to probably be a little bit overwhelming and you're not going to understand everything that it says. And truthfully, the bulk of the material is kind of standard, but there's probably going to be some very specific things about, who you want to be your executor, where your money's going, that type of stuff. Have some sort of summary, right, for each document so that it's very clear to your beneficiaries. They don't have to try to read a 300-page trust. They can kind of look at the bullet points, as it were. So letters of instruction can be done by you. They don't have to be done by an attorney. And there's, the list is endless as far as different types of instructions that you might have. But again, as part of your estate planning, one of the things that you're trying to do is avoid any fighting, right? That's one issue I think a lot of people have, right? They don't want their families, they don't want their kids, they don't want their siblings, parents, whoever it is, to fight after they're gone. And so providing them with this clarity can really help out with that. And the second and maybe as important thing is just making it easy for people. Passing away, losing a loved one is very difficult for the majority of us, right? It's not difficult for anybody. It's not easy for anybody. It's difficult for everybody, I would say. So what you can do now to make it easier for people while they're grieving, I get calls all the time where mom or dad just passed away and now they're told they have to go through probate, and you can just see it, how stressful it is, because they haven't even really got to process the grieving process. They haven't really got to process what has happened and go through the grieving process because they're dealing with all this type of stuff. So make it easy for them. So again, if you have an estate planning attorney, ask him or her about it. They can probably prepare some stuff, but just in your mind, think about, preparing some sort of letters of instruction for different things that I've talked about or some other things that you might have in mind to just make it simple and easy for people.